Sometimes when I watch Trump speak, I feel like I'm watching a baby wrestle with its food. Like, right? Like, what are you doing, brother?
Your predecessor dismissed your autopen investigation. He said he made all the decisions during his presidency. I'm curious your reaction to his dismissal.
Well, look, the autopen, I think, is the big scandal outside of the rigged election of 2020. I think the biggest scandal of the last many years is the autopen. Look, he was never for open borders. He was never for transgender for everybody. He was never for men playing in women's sports. I mean, he changed. I mean, all of these things that changed so radically. I don't think he had any idea.
The autopen. Yesterday, President Donald Trump ordered his administration to investigate what he is calling the autopen scandal. Trump is claiming that during Joe Biden's presidency, Biden was not the one making decisions. Instead, other members of his administration were. They were creating policies using an autopen machine to put Biden's signature on them. They make it seem like he was just propped up there and they were doing all the work, maybe. A lot to discuss with the story. We'll get into the details in a moment. But Cenk, do you think Donald Trump has a leg to stand on here?
Yes, I think he does actually. So, it's a mixed bag. He always goes too far, right? So has Donald Trump used the autopen before as well? Yes. So it's like using the autopen doesn't immediately mean that the world exploded and the president's not really the president, right? Did Joe Biden use it more? Yes. Did he seem to use it for some important things that he probably should have signed himself? Yes. Should he be arrested for that? No. Okay, like there's no need to get carried away. There's no need to, like, everybody's always threatening arrest. Now Steve Bannon is saying that Elon Musk should be arrested or deported. We'll get to that story later in the show. It's breaking news as we're speaking right now. So stop arresting everyone, right? Okay, but if you want to investigate which ones were signed by autopen and did Joe Biden really sign off on those, that could be a legitimate investigation. Because, I mean, here on the Young Turks, we were asking, while Biden was president, who's really making these decisions? Because he's, at times, looked like he was totally and utterly out of it. So our theory was that Anthony Blinken was running foreign policy. And that, honestly, his wife, Jill Biden, was running a lot of domestic policy. And we're not just saying that, it's based on reporting from mainstream media outlets on different things that gave us that sense. Like, for example, Jill Biden would sit in on interviews for cabinet members. I've never heard of a wife of a president doing that. Why is she helping to pick the cabinet? That was extraordinary, and there's many other examples like that. And Blinken seemed firmly in charge of foreign policy. So were they checking with the president? I hope so. I hope so. Was the president making cognizant decisions? Well, you saw him at the debate. Did he seem cognizant in the debate? I don't know about that, right? So I don't think it's nothing, Sharon. I also don't, we don't need to go nuclear either. Let's just figure out what happened and let's make sure to the best of our abilities that the president's charged. But again, one more thing, Sharon, was Ronald Reagan charged at the end of his presidency? Do they check with the president on all of these things? I don't get that sense at all. I think the bureaucracy runs a lot of the government.
Wow, wake up call. Let's get to this memo Trump wrote to the Department of Justice. In recent months, it has become increasingly apparent that former President Biden's aides abused the power of presidential signatures through the use of an autopen to conceal Biden's cognitive decline and assert Article 2 authority. This conspiracy marks one of the most dangerous and concerning scandals in American history. The American public was purposefully shielded from discovering who wielded the executive power, all while Biden's signature was deployed across thousands of documents to effect radical policy shifts. Today, Trump was asked to provide evidence for these claims about Biden's autopen. Let's see what he had to say.
Have you uncovered any evidence that anything specific was signed without President Biden's knowledge or by other people in the administration acting illegally?
Well, I don't think Biden would know whether or not he signed it.
I'm asking if you've uncovered any of that information.
No, but I've uncovered, the human mind. I was in a debate with the human mind, and I didn't think he knew what the hell he was doing. So, it's just one of those things, one of those problems.
So never mind hypocrisy. Trump too has admitted he's used the autopen as well. But he claims that he only uses it for unimportant matters. Here's what he said about the autopen today.
You know, I sign important documents. Usually when they put documents in front of you, they're important. Even if you're signing ambassadorships, and I consider that important. I think it's inappropriate. You have somebody that's devoting 4 years of their life or more to being an ambassador. I think you really that person deserves to get a real signature, not an autopen signature. Autopen to me are used when thousands of letters come in from young people all over the country and you want to get them back. And, you know, people use autopens for that, to send a little signature at the bottom of a letter. We have thousands of them. We get thousands of letters a week, and it's not possible to, do. I'd like to do it myself, but you can't do it. To me, that's where autopens start and stop.
All right, so Trump making the distinction there. Joe Biden responded to the autopen allegations. Let me be clear. I made the decisions during my presidency. I made the decisions about the pardons, executive orders, legislation, and proclamations. Any suggestion that I didn't is ridiculous and false. This is nothing more than a distraction by Donald Trump and congressional Republicans who are working to push disastrous legislation that would cut essential programs like Medicaid, raise costs on American families, all to pay for tax breaks for the ultra wealthy and big corporations.
Please.
Now, well, yeah. These two sides, are they that different? But there's some who will already say that Biden didn't write that response. But go ahead, weigh in on Trump and his response to what is appropriate, when it's appropriate to use the autopen, Jang, and Biden's response.
Yeah, when I watch Trump speak, I feel like I'm watching a baby wrestle with its food. Like, right? Like, what are you doing, brother? You had him at, hey, who used the autopen for him? But instead he goes, some things are unimportant. You could do with an autopen. Oh, wait a minute. What do you think is unimportant? What have you done with an autopen that you don't even know because you think that category is unimportant? You don't even know it because you said that basically you're saying it's so unimportant you didn't bother checking. That could be worse. Biden's at least saying that he checked and he made the decisions. And then, by the way, Helen 007, one of our members on TYT.com said, Biden had the autopen, Trump has Stephen Miller. So that's also a fair point. Like, who do you think is doing the policy, Blinken or Biden? My guess is Blinken. Who do you think is doing the policy, Stephen Miller or Donald Trump? My guess is Stephen Miller, right? So that's why, like, he's got to know when to stop talking, but he definitely doesn't. And then I was amused by the Biden line of like, oh, that's why the Republicans are helping the ultra wealthy and corporations. Come on, brother, what did you do? What did you do? Come on. So don't tell me about how, oh yeah, the Republicans are serving the rich. Yes, that's definitely true, but the Democrats didn't do any better. That's why you got your ass handed to you. And now Democratic leadership sitting at 19% because the Democratic establishment got caught basically serving the donor class. So it just rings so hollow. And Sharon, it's a great point. I mean, who auto-penned that statement for Biden? Did Biden really write that himself? But that goes to the larger point I made earlier too, which is none of these people write their own statements. Like when Trump's talking, the reason why people believe he's authentic, even though he is almost always lies in some way, shape or form, right? He throws in a whole bunch of lies. Oh, they're eating the cats and the dogs, etc. But he doesn't sound like a robot. He sounds like a real person, right? But in terms of like who's making the policies and etc., they're basically all at the end of the day let the donors win. They let the donors control everything. So and the reason the bureaucracy runs things because they know which donors helped and which ones they got to pay back, and they know all of those details. But Trump spends most of his time golfing and watching Fox News. Biden spent most of his time napping. So that's why, like, the presidency does make some important decisions, no question. Like Donald Trump made the decisions on tariffs that no one else would have, right? So that's fair. Joe Biden did say, yes, we will serve Israel and we will never question them, right? Those are important decisions. Yes, I'm taking out $15 minimum wage. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do paid family leave. I'm not doing public option. Those are important decisions for the president. But overall, other than those big giant decisions, No, on a day-to-day basis, they don't really run the country, and we should all be aware of that by now. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.